Thanks for checking out the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support what's going on here while getting amazing perks like the Discord community, have me play your deck, and my list and sideboard guides before tournaments, join the Patreon or YouTube membership. This channel is made possible by these amazing sponsors. Check them out and support them. Their links are in the video description. Thanks again for being here. Now let's go play some Magic. Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I've got a spicy legacy brew for you. This is Poison Control from Patreon subscriber CC Ant-Man. Before we dig into this deck I'm actually going to play, let me show you the first draft that Ant-Man sent me. This deck started out Bant and much more creature based. And before anyone gets mad, because there's always someone, Ant-Man and I talked about all the changes I made. They're excited about the deck and totally fine with this, even though it looks very different than the original idea. That said, this was kind of a Bant mid-range deck, where basically the idea was to get a few poison on the opponent with your creatures, and then win the game with things like Skrelv's Hive and Prologue to Pheresis, nickel and diming your opponent up here and there. Inkmoth Nexus was in the mana base. This was built much more like traditional combo Infect, except with instead of pump spells, we just have card draw and stuff. But I thought we could do a little better, and in my Scryfall searching, I was reminded that Ichormoon Gaunt is a card that was printed in All Will Be One. And this was a very exciting one. I don't know if you were on Twitter the day this was revealed, but people lost their dang minds. 2 and a blue artifact. Planeswalkers you control have 0 proliferate and -12. Take an extra turn after this one. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, choose a counter on target permanent, put an additional counter of that kind on that permanent. I got very excited about this thing, and it completely changed the direction of the deck into one that had way more planeswalkers in it. And then I whittled down the original Bant shell until I realized that Venerated Rot Priest was the only green card left in the main deck. And at that point, I was just like, you're out of here. I didn't have ways to target my own Rot Priest or really take advantage of it. And we just went full Azorius Planeswalker Proliferate. The core idea of the deck, though, is still here. The plan is to give them 1 poison and then proliferate our faces off. The ways to give them a poison are the unblockable Blighted Agent or Prologue to Pheresis. This is probably the easiest one. Each opponent gets a poison counter, draw a card. And after that, once they have the 1, the race is on. Experimental Augury is an Anticipate that also proliferates. Ichormoon Gaunt, while it does not proliferate itself, and the triggered ability isn't like proliferate target thing because a player is not a permanent. You can't add poison counters to a player with Ichormoon Gaunt. You can add counters to your planeswalkers, which get bigger and do more things, and if we take an extra turn, we get to proliferate a bunch more times, and off we go. I've got the normal planeswalkers you'd expect here in Narset, Teferi, and Wandering Emperor, and then I had some room for some fun ones. It's important to diversify your planeswalkers rather than 4 Narset, 4 Teferi, 3 Wandering Emperor. You do want as many different planeswalkers on board as possible to maximize your proliferation with Gauntlet. Teferi, Master of Time, can activate his loyalty abilities anytime a player could play an instant. That means you get to proliferate on both turn cycles. If proliferating is even the best thing to be doing, like Teferi could just be looting. Teferi also has take extra turns built into him. And -10 on Teferi is cheaper than -12 on Ichormoon Gaunt, so we might get 2 turns ahead of schedule with Teferi. Gideon of the Trials helps stabilize the board. You can prevent all damage a thing does. You could put up the emblem against combo decks. And I doubt we're going to ever be close to a damage kill, but if you need it, you can be a 4/4. And the last fun one I put in the main, this was a toss-up between Dovin or Ashiok Game Ender, and Game Ender ended up in the sideboard. There they are. Hello, Ashiok. Dovin, Hand of Control. This is a card I'm kind of experimenting with in CEDH, and it was on my mind, so I want to try it here. Artifact, instant, and sorcery spells your opponent's cast cost 1 more. This is a one-sided Thalia against the combo decks, where you want that sort of effect. And -1 until next turn, prevent all damage that would be dealt by target permanent an opponent controls. So the static punishes spell decks, and the minus buys time against creature decks. And normally Dovin just ticks down until you can't use them anymore, but if we're proliferating and adding counters the hard way to these War of the Spark Planeswalkers that don't otherwise have a plus, that's room for abuse. All this tucked into the normal Supreme Verdict, Force of Will, Swords of Plowshares, Minor Misstep, Brainstorm kind of core. My dear friend Ponder ended up getting the cut here. We had to make room for Prologue and Augury, but I think we can live without Ponder for one league. Sorry, buddy. Island Prologue to Pheresis Keep. Someone should put that on a shirt. The sideboard, as with all of my blue-white control decks, is just stacked against combo. We should be pretty solid in the main deck against creatures between Supreme Verdicts, Plows, Wandering Emperor, Teferi, Gideon, and Dovin, etc. And then out of the sideboard, we have the Null Rods, Deafening Silences, whatever, to help stuff the busted decks. I'm excited about where this landed. The idea had me excited at first, and I thought the Bant mid-range thing would be fun to do, but just this was one of those deck building things that many of us have experienced where you're looking at the deck and then you're looking at for new tech for a deck, and then that tech sends you down a totally different rabbit hole. Ichormoon Gauntlet was that rabbit hole, and I think it's an exciting card to build around. Let's go try this thing. I'm on the play in round 1 against Joe L, who is one of my patrons and regular coaching clients, and I know exactly what he's playing. It's a show and tell Reanimator brew that he and I have been working on together for months now. I know he's running a Traxa in it these days, and it's also in the queue to be recorded on the channel. Look for this in the next week or two. I'm gonna mulligan this hand. Uh-oh. This Karn's Bastion is brutal. I threw that in for fun at the end. The Force of Will is important, but okay. I'm going to keep this and put the 2 Plows on the bottom. Not happy about this hand, and knowing we're under the gun, as we are. Double Force might buy me some time, but we'll see what happens. Any land gets Blighted Agent into play, then we're playing. Tilt. One of the things that a lot of people don't really recognize when they look at legacy decks is that Ponder and Brainstorm are part of the mana base. And when you do something like cut Ponder for Prologue to Pheresis, you miss your second land drop. If this was Ponder, we'd just be playing a normal blue-white game, 4 looks at a land drop, off we go. But it's not, it's the silly card instead. But that's what we signed up for, so let's do it. Shuffled the library. Oh, you also kept a 1-lander with Ponder. Well, or this might just be a discard or reanimate monster. Okay, yeah. I know he does like making that play. Okay, anything could happen here. Needs 2 layers of protection for the reanimate spell, but Grizzlebrand is chilling in the graveyard regardless. Brainstorm. You just check my mana base here. 19. That is a little lower than I normally put in control decks. I normally do 20. And that's normally counting Ponder. Uh-oh, we got a Lotus Petal in play. Land drop found. Might have had it last turn too, but definitely has it now. A Shallow Grave. I'm going to force this pitching one of my Blighted Agents. Has the force back. That's cool. Force pitching Omniscience, and then I'm going to force, once again, pitching Blighted Agent. I think Prologue is better than Agent, and Narset, although I'm pretty far away from it, is one of my most potent cards. 3 cards left over there. Please, deck. Give me the land. Many lands. Ship it. Okay, I'll put Misty Rainforest and then Narset in that order. And I'm going to play Flooded Strand. That way Narset's hidden from Thoughtseize effects, and I still hit my land drop next turn and get to shuffle away the extra land. Just gotta hope there's not a Grizzlebrand in play right now. Ponder. One of the things that I talked to Joe about this deck is the nature of Show and Tell Reanimator is that it's not really an A-B combo deck. There's A-B, and then there's 1 and 2. Like Entomb Reanimate is 1-2, and then Monster in Hand Show and Tell is A-B. So other than the deck wants big monsters in it, the 2 things that it does don't really overlap in a smooth way. which is what I'm hoping for now. I'm just rooting for this deck's fail rate because I am also failing over here. Narset will give me a lot of life if she sticks, though. Okay, we're in there. Narset found Supreme Verdict, Augury, Prologue. Augury proliferates. Supreme Verdict could answer a resolved monster. I think I want Augury. It's funny to take that over Brainstorm in this desperate situation, but Augury sees the same number of cards that Brainstorm does, and there's no chance of getting locked. Though I guess Narset plays around locks anyway. Animate dead. Okay, Narset, hold the fort, my sweet queen. I get a lot of linear looks at Swords to Plowshares here. And by linear, I mean I get to look at my top 4 cards, then I get to look at the next 3 cards. Narset, have a peek. Dovin, that's interesting. I could lock down Grizzlebrand with Dovin for a while. Okay. Please resolve. Let me have this. I need this in my life. Desperately. Oh yeah, we're in there. Perfectly normal Legacy Magic being played. And then I can... Dovin is also now squeezing the spell half of their deck. And Augury reloads my squad. I still can't use Narset, unfortunately. Oh, he's got a spell to cast. Changed his mind. Okay, backed it all up. Was that a show and tell and forgot about Dovin? That's how I'm reading that. He commented on Thalia Hand of Control in the comments, so he definitely has show and tell over there and just didn't realize what Dovin does. Or at least all of the things that Dovin does. I think I want to Augury first. Get my sweet, sweet proliferation. Sick. Okay, Swords to Plowshares to my hand. And then Swords and Force on the bottom. Proliferate both my Planeswalkers. And then Dovin frees Grizzlebrand again. And I'm gonna Brainstorm here. I think we're good for it. Swords to Plowshares can be cast off this Tundra. All right, so Lanes and Wandering Emperor. The top, make my land drop, and pass the turn. I don't want to just plow Grizzlebrand because Dovin has it under control anyway. And there's a good chance that something like Archon of Cruelty is going to happen in the near future. There's Archon of Cruelty, confirmed. And a show and tell. That's going to resolve, unfortunately. I have nothing to put in. Emrakul. Okay, that's actually fine. Or nope, Annihilation is not fine. That's unbeatable. Okay, I need to find one of my Supreme Verdicts. Yeah, stopping Emrakul's damage only does half of what we need here. One of the strengths of Joe's deck is that he has carefully curated a spread of different monsters that do different things, which does hurt redundancy, but it does allow him to solve situations like this one. Swords to Plowshares is Grizzlebrand. And I'm going to need a Teferi to get out of this. I do have a Narset activation, and now that Grizzlebrand's out of play, could also ambush Wandering Emperor in response to the Annihilation trigger. Prevent the 15 damage. Okay, I'm not dead. I'm going to activate Narset. I'd love to find Teferi here. Wandering Emperor and Augury. Guess I'll take the Augury. None of this is pretty, though. They prevent the damage Emrakul would deal. And I'm going to lose all of my permanents. Shit. Yeah, maybe I'm not supposed to activate Narset there, but I play a bunch of Teferis. Or I let Annihilator resolve first. That's what I do here. And then he can Force of Will. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he can Force of Will anyway. Alright, so Annihilator, resolve. Oh no, I clicked through. I forgot to float the mana. God damn it. That was supposed to be the heroic moment, but I forgot to float mana. I was like, yeah, I'll just let Annihilator resolve. Alright. Well, that hurt. We were navigating it so beautifully, and then just yeeted it at the end. But, okay, here comes my anti-combo stuff. Swords to Plowshares is good here. I don't... I don't really need dress downs. Supreme Verdict has text, but the text is mostly against Emrakul only compared to all the things that Swords of Plowshares does. But I guess with situations like the one we just saw, where Grizzlebrand is under control from a pair of Planeswalkers, but a problem if they get through it, then having Supreme Verdict in that spot is good. I'm actually going to cut all my Bladed Agents and just play with my spells. And Minor Misstep is fine. This is a Thoughtseize deck. Dovin was sick there. Maybe I'll go to 1 Supreme Verdict. I'm bringing in a bunch of answers to stop things from showing up in the first place. I'm so mad at myself for not floating 4 mana. I'm just trying to be cool about it. Okay, 1 land Brainstorm. I got Game Ender. I have a Force. I'm going to keep this. Land go. I would like my Draw Step and Brainstorm to give me 2 more lands, and then I'm ready to go. Forever. Ponder from the opponent, and I am going to draw for my turn, give myself the Draw Step to try to hit the land naturally, and then get myself a card deeper on Brainstorm. I'm not doing anything on 2 mana that would necessitate me spiking the land right now. It's better to go a card deeper and figure it out. Through the land, that's what I'm talking about. Now I am going to Brainstorm, though, because I would like to do things on 3 mana, and I want to give myself a chance to hit the... Oh god. Well, I found a Force of Will, and I guess I'll put Dovin and Game Ender on top, or in the other order. Game Ender, Dovin. Didn't find the fetch land, but that's okay. I can Brainstorm again next turn, or I can just hold up Double Force for a while, knowing that they're not going to beat up my mana base, and I can prologue on their turn, and then have a fresh draw, see 4 fresh cards next turn. Fetched in the end step. We didn't get Entomb, though. That's good. Okay, he's going to an end step discard enabler. Gonna prologue. Get you poisoned. And I hope that the card under Ashiok right now is a land, and then I can mess up this end step discard situation. Shieldred, okay. And we hit the land. Let's go. Ashiok, Game Ender. Make it happen. Blast you. Get your deck out of here. Get your graveyard out of here. We cleared Otawara and Brazen Borrower and 2 Force of Wills. Just cleared 4 answers with the mill 4. Feels good. Now Entombs off. Would have to reanimate the same turn you put in the graveyard, which is really hard to do while Entombs off. I do think Teferi is the best of these options here. Just make sure I win the counter war, and that sets up everything else that I'd like to do this game. And with Double Force in my hand, I believe I am confident enough to simply draw a card here. Although Teferi is my answer to Emrakul. I hit my land drop. That was all worth doing. Cool. All right, I'm feeling good about this game now. Show and Tell, Resolving, and Omniscience can power through what I'm doing, but I need Thoughtseize into Show and Tell, or 2 Thoughtseizes. Oh, there's one of them. Resolves. Now we'll see if he chooses to start working through my forces, or takes Dovin, because Dovin makes it harder to do anything on subsequent turns. Once Teferi pluses, Supreme Verdict can clean up most of the things that his deck can do. We got the G's you rolled up in the chat. I sure am. I was just saying that. You're right. Ooh. I'm gonna plus Teferi Time Raveler. And Dovin versus Narset in this spot is pretty interesting. If I Dovin, then he can't Show and Tell Reanimate next turn, or Show and Tell Thoughtseize next turn. I could Brainstorm. Yeah, I actually am going to Brainstorm. I would like to hit a land drop. I don't really need the Supreme Verdict. I don't need Rest in Peace. And my opponent is already poisoned, so I don't need Prologue. Back up to Fairy is pretty nice. And I am going to go with Dovin here. I'm in the restriction business, not the pull ahead business. Opponent's got 6 cards in hand and just went for a win last turn with the Thoughtseize, hoping to poke through. Don't need to activate Ashiok, don't need to activate Dovin. Shouldred would resolve here. Okay, there she is. Do not care about her. She will do 2 damage to me, and my opponent will gain 2 life, and then she'll die. Supreme Verdict. There's a fetch land that doesn't work. Target creature you don't control phases out. I mean, that could work. I could also just minus Dovin on her, let the life loss happen, and hang out. I'm going to plus Teferi. I'm going to go for Narset here, actually. And I'm going to minus Dovin on Sheoldred. My life total is a resource. Gas me up. Show me that Ichormoon thing. Oh, yeah. It's here. Dovin frees up Sheoldred. And now it's party time. Alright, it gets to gain 2 life there. Can't Thoughtseize and Show and Tell this turn through Dovin, because the fetch land doesn't work. Another fetch land. You love to see it. Ashiok Game Ender, ending games, as advertised. 2 mana Ponder, which does not draw a card. Just spending 2 mana to look at the top 3 cards of your deck, and they chose to shuffle. Everything's coming up. Planeswalkers. Found another force. That makes life pretty easy. Okay, Ichormoon Gauntlet. LFG. Now Ashiok can do other stuff. Not just sitting there. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Narset can look at my cards. Wow, 4 lands at the bottom. Tough break on Narset. Proliferate with Ashiok. Poison my opponent and put loyalty on all of my Planeswalkers, which means that I can bounce Sheoldred and draw another card, which means Dovin can proliferate. Hit my land drop. Love to see it. Dovin, proliferate. So sick. Poison you. And up the squad. That's certainly a powerful interaction. I hope I get to resolve Teferi Master of Time before we see the concession. Sheoldred. I don't even need or want or care about Force of Will here. Yeah, I can lose 2 life again. It's not a big deal. Because I'm about to master time, which is all I've ever wanted in life. It's a Teferi Master of Time. Actually giggling like a schoolgirl here. And Ichormoon Gauntlet gets to put a counter on Teferi, who's going to clear Sheoldred again this turn. Oh my god, it's just happening. Proliferate with Ashiok. Can I just win right now? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I am 1 poison short of winning right now. Okay, I'll bounce Sheoldred again. And then proliferate a bunch more. Proliferate with Dovin. All my Planeswalkers become larger. I don't even need to dig with Narset. I am gassed up here. Force blue card, force blue card. Proliferate. And proliferate. Is this a jank screenshot Hall of Fame? I think it is. Important to note that the Swords of Plowshares in my hand can't be cast because I only play 3 Tundras and Misty Rainforest doesn't get planes. Still don't care about Sheoldred. I'll proliferate in response. And Ashiok can take an extra turn this turn. Too bad you're already dead. Oh my god, we did the thing! Unfortunately, Teferi, like, I'm 1 poison short of winning in response to the Sheoldred trigger. It doesn't matter, but it's really funny. Proliferate. And proliferate. This boy is poison. That was amazing. If nothing else good happens in this league, at least we did that. I think my deck is still my deck here. I'm going in. Another mulligan brought to us by Karn's Bastion. Disappointing. Okay, here we go. This hand is very good. I'm going to send... I think it's Swords to Plowshares. So Swords can beat most things that come out of Show and Tell. But I like shutting off the entire graveyard. If I shut off the graveyard, I don't need Ashiok. Okay, Ashiok is the most expensive card and redundant in this hand. Prismatic Vista actually hurts here because I need to cast Brainstorm, but I also need white for my reactive cards. Opponent starts on a Ponder. Ponder did not shuffle. Narset. Uh-oh. I'm still going to chill. Be patient on the brainstorm. Okay, we've got a fetch. And this is the moment of truth. Do I chase? I don't think I chase the land drop in the end step. Okay, rewarded for my patience. I'm going to get island and plains here. Or island and tundra, not plains. Slam the rip. And then try to hold up against show and tell with force of will and swords to plowshares. Okay, rip is in. Half the deck, now not a concern. So he does play Brazen Borrowers. Ottawa is in there somewhere. Limb Duel's Vault. Okay, let's go. This is not a card I generally approve of being in decks, but we'll see how good it is here. Okay, Vault has found what it's looking for. I hope my various filters keep most of it out, but there is someone working on my roof right now, and I record on the top floor of my house. So if you hear any bangs or creaks or whatever, that's what's happening. Getting my thoughts seized here. Probably going to take the force of will, would be my guess. Okay, took my swords to plowshares and then dropped a Boseiju. Tight play. Surgical doesn't help. I'm going to have to brainstorm to find some action here. Minor misstep, probably not what I'm after. Surgical definitely sucks, and I'll hide Narset on top for next turn. And good chance this is the end of the road, depending on what comes out of this show and tell. If it's Omniscience Emrakul, we're dead. If it's Emrakul at all, we're in trouble. Actually, I'm trying to think of what wouldn't kill me here, and it's a small amount of things. Yep. Uncounterable show and tell. Well, I won't counter it because I can't. Then I won't put anything in because I can't. Atraxa, sure. Bad news, Bears. There's not a Karakas in my deck. There probably should be. Here I am facing down this Atraxa without many good answers to it. And this is the moment where you realize you should probably be playing a Karakas in your blue control deck. Okay, I am using the Moto chat to figure out what cards were selected here. Brazen Borrower is the creature. Animate Dead's the enchantment. Sheoldred's Edict is the instant. And that's the land. Okay, that's what just happened. I will prologue to Pheresis in the end step, which draws Narset. Then under Narset is Surgical Extraction. And then I need to Narset, survive an Atraxa hit, and then figure out what's going on after that. Okay, Narset, let's go. Use Narset, looking for Swords to Plowshares here. I found the Ichormoon Gauntlet. As excited as I was to see that last game, I am that unexcited to see it now. And seeing Atraxa, I mean, I didn't have the Narset resolved yet, but seeing Atraxa just put 5 cards in his hand rather than draw 7 after Narset locked Griselbrand out in game 1, this is a big point for Atraxa. We're going to fetch. Sheoldred's Edict is uncounterable. Ponder and Thoughtseize can be countered. Hardcast Force is uncounterable. That's messed up. Hey, here she comes. The old 7/7 Death Touch. Like there's anything bigger than her in this guy. I guess I should retract that statement because Murktide Regent is frequently bigger than her. Okay, attacking my life points directly. He knows about Force of Will. He can Sheoldred's Edict and make it uncounterable to clear Narset. So all that makes sense. Yep, uncounterable Edict is certainly what's happening here with black Boseiju mana in the pool. Each opponent sacrifices a Planeswalker. I choose Narset. Okay, Swords to Plowshares right off the tippy top. Oh no, there's more. Oh, it's the Ponder we knew about. Right, yeah, you can have that one. Okay, Swords to Plowshares or Teferi is actually fine here. Dovin is not bad here. I actually have a lot of play right now. Gideon gets it done here. Okay. I actually have a lot more draws than I thought I did. And unlike Griselbrand, Atraxa can't just reload again now that she's connected once. Oh, Dovin. I will put Atraxa to sleep and take my hand of control over this game. The next show and tell can put an Ichormoon Gauntlet. Then we're just going off. Oh, this is awkward though. Dovin makes spells cost 1 more, which means he can besiege you as Thoughtseize. Because Thoughtseize costs black colorless now. If he wants an uncounterable Thoughtseize to punch through my Force of Will and then clear Dovin somehow, it's there. All right, deck, help me out. Good cards. That's a good card. Gonna freeze Atraxa first and foremost. And then I'm gonna play Gauntlet. These minor missteps are cool, but if he just jams Brazen Borrower in the end step here to try to clear Dovin, I can Force of Will that, which puts a counter on Dovin. And if Dovin isn't ticking down anymore, we're making progress. Otawara might rest in peace. Fascinating. So we're taking a flip into the graveyard now. Turn on my Surgical. Uncounterable Entomb off of Beseiju. Thanks, Dovin. Yep, can't counter that. And you know it. Archon of Cruelty in the bin. I'm going to let him get to his turn and invest 3 mana in the Animate Dead. Because it's now or never. The Rest in Peace isn't gone. It's just in my hand. It'll be back. Thoughtseize. I'll respond by Surgicaling the Archon, which also puts a counter on Dovin. And I get to see what's in the hand. I know 2 of these cards. Another Beseiju and an Island. A Grizzlebrand, 2 Sholterids left. Big Emrakul. Not a lot still going on here. And kind of out of gas in the hand. Okay. I am not going to force this Thoughtseize. And if he takes Force of Will, then I can't force a negation Brazen Borrower. Alright, just taking Rest in Peace. Investing in the future. Hoping to find another payout. Not even trying to fight over Brazen Borrower. Taking a fetch here. And passing the turn. Another Force of Will. Dovin. Continue to freeze Atraxa. And pass the turn. He's under 2 minutes on his clock now, which is another factor in this game. Though I do feel like I'm genuinely ahead. I will mental or minor misstep a Ponder or Brainstorm if he doesn't Beseiju it. But he's seen 2 missteps in my hand, so he probably should if he's got it. Okay, not interested. Give it to me. I'll take that freebie and put another counter on Dovin. Found my land. Dovin, freeze Atraxa. 4 counter spells in hand. Dovin protecting the board. 90 seconds left on my opponent's clock. I'd love to draw another Planeswalker. Anyone would do. Oh, Supreme Verdict hits pretty hard, though. Okay, I'm gonna fetch. I guess I don't really need a Supreme Verdict. Oh, it's actually awful to Supreme Verdict. Yeah, because that gives him the Animate Dead and brings back the Atraxa. Never mind. And his goal right now is to run Dovin out of counters, but I get a whole turn cycle before I care about that. I will Force of Will a Brazen Borrower as 3-1 mode. That one cannot be made uncounterable. Entomb can, though. Oh, Petty Theft. Sure. Okay, that's clever. That pressures the Dovin counters. And I still have to Force of Will this Brazen Borrower. I'll pitch the misstep. Okay, Brazen Borrower's answered. Beseiju, Animate Dead in hand, and 2 mystery cards. We've got an Animate Dead on Brazen Borrower being cast. I'm gonna hard cast Force of Negation on that. Any little damage here is bad for me. Ashiok Game Ender. Okay, Dovin, freeze Atraxa. I'm gonna lead on the Ichormoon Gauntlet, because that lets me play Ashiok, proliferate Dovin up next turn. If I have to force this turn, it gives me the counter on Dovin. And then even if Ashiok is countered, I still cast a spell, which puts the counter on Dovin. Animate Dead. This is fine. I'll Supreme Verdict. I'm not even worried about Ashiok. Play my land, and then Supreme V. Get your junk out of here. Counter on Dovin. And Dovin will, I guess, proliferate this turn. We are getting our money's worth this league. Both of us under 5 minutes. I'd be impressed if he can pull it out from here, because he has to answer Dovin. And he has to assemble either a reanimate or a show and tell plus monster in hand through Force of Will and beat the Dovin in 9 seconds. All right, well, got that one. Yeah, I ran out of time. There was still a lot of game to play there. That was really good. We saw the grinding power. We saw the grinding power of the deck that he's built here. The Thoughtseize, the Plow, Boseiju, shove in the next thing. This is not a fast combo deck. It's a very slow, stable combo deck with a lot of options to consider and specific routes it can take. If one route is shut off, it can open up another one. And it's a very cool deck. And this game was not over. We're not even going to see what this Atraxa would have found, but blue-white control, Dovin Hand of Control right off the top. And we are undefeated with this deck so far. If you've ever wanted to learn how to play poker, there's no better way than PokerCoaching.com's Master the Fundamentals course, which I'm excited to give all of you for free. This course is separated into 19 short sections that will make sure you understand everything you need to know to play well and beat your friends. The first section is on the rules of the game, then you'll learn about hand ranges, equity, basic strategies, and a whole lot more. By the end of the course, you'll know everything you need to know in order to give you the best chance of success at No Limit Hold'em. Check out the link in the video description to pokercoaching.com/free crash course. I'm on the play against Tony Scaponi, who is a known Turbo Storm maniac. I'm going to mulligan this zero lander, but especially because it doesn't have force. And I'll keep this hand with 2 forces, and I can bottom the Swords to Plowshares. Basic Plains, not exciting, but I'm going in. Keep bottom plow, and let's rock. Having force blue card feels good. Gideon embleming up beats Tendrils of Agony. If they get Grape Shot high enough, they could clear the Gideon, then kill me. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I hope I draw a land, is what happens. Bobble. I've been bobbled. He knows something about my deck now. I hope he saw something stupid, like Prologue to Pheresis. Or I hope he sees a land. That's what I want him to see, because that's what I want to draw. There's a Saga. And the turn's being passed. I do have 2 dress downs in my main deck if he settles into a Saga beatdown plan. But I do need to hit my land drops. Uh-oh. Oh no. This is how I start to die to Sagas. And Tony, me missing a land drop, he's going to read that I predicted he was on Storm and assume I kept a hand with a bunch of interaction. And this is where the Saga strat just punishes. Come on, Blue Source. I hate you so much. Stupid deck. Yeah, here we go. Here come the constructs. And I bottomed that Swords to Plowshares. And 19 lands in this deck, with one of them being Karn's Bastion, might be a little over the top. A little irresponsible, and no Ponder to smooth it out. LED, Brainstone. I'm just taking 5 here. Dead in 2 hits. Come on, blue mana. Oh my god. Sweet Relief, maybe. I'm gonna shove this Blighted Agent into play. It can block, and it's gonna have to. And then next turn, Teferi can bounce a construct, I hope. Activating Brainstone. That makes the construct smaller. I like that. I also love that he's actually playing Brainstone in Legacy. Kudos to Tony. Willing to try anything. Dark Ritual is on the stack. It resolves. I could just get natural Tendrils here, but I'm not going to force a Dark Ritual. Thoughtseize, have a gander. I have 2 of the important card. This does give away everything I'm up to. The Ichormoon Gauntlet, the whole payoff is available. The Blighted Agent's in play. The Planeswalker is the Gauntlet. He now knows everything my deck does. Okay, burnt off the other 2 ritual mana. Wasn't ready to beat 2 forces here. Block one of these, put a -1 counter on it. Feature proliferation target. Come on, land for Teferi. Please and thank you. Land for Teferi. Guess I'm playing this other chump blocker. Now I have double force again. But I have to pitch Teferi to play the second one. Dark Ritual. Another Dark Ritual. Oh no. City of Traders. Wishclaw Talisman. This can get Tendrils. Gonna force here. Tendrils in hand. Is that what we were doing? Infernal Tutor. Well, I'm dead anyway, but I'll force this too. Okay, if I draw a land, I can block Little Construct this turn, go to 4, freeze Big Construct for next turn. Or if I draw Dress Down. Dress Down and land are both good here. Removal is also good. I am going to continue whittling down the smaller construct, hoping to stabilize against the other one. Dress Down, Swords of Plowshares, land. Brainstorm, okay. This could be Swords of Plowshares still. Instead it's nothing. Ugh. Okay. Yep. Just a little land screw. Null Rod comes in, Force of Negation, Deafening Silence. I don't think this is a surgical matchup. It might be a back to basics matchup, though. I think I'd rather cast my spells than not. You can back off of an Ichormoon Gauntlet. It's going to be my job to survive more than it is to win. I'm going to cut 2 Swords of Plowshares. I know removal would have helped in that spot, but now that I know what he's doing, I can be a little more prepared for it. Supreme Verdict pitches to forces and swipes up constructs. Dovin is great against the whole deck. Rest in Peace, kind of whatever. Hydroblast doesn't matter, Subtlety doesn't matter. We did just see Infernal Tutor and Wishclaw Talisman. Ashiok Game Enders coming in. I think I'll back off of Blighted Agent and another Gauntlet. And I gotta cut one more card. It's one of these Wandering Emperors. Okay, I'll do it like this. On the play with a Null Rod protected by Force of Will, I'll keep. And Dress Down and Narset. Hope I survive this turn, because my hand's great. Blooded Strand, go. Duress. I would rather brainstorm away my Null Rod than force this Duress. But I want Null Rod in play for next turn. So if I put Dress Down and Null Rod on top of my deck in that order. Okay, if he can duress me, clear the force, and then kill me, then we did it. Good job. Otherwise, Null Rod's going to resolve next turn. Took Brainstorm. Okay. That's good. That means he's planning to pass the turn. Which means I get to Null Rod, which cuts Vault of Whispers out from under him. And now that's protected by Force. Yep, there we go. Okay. Null Rod, rip in pieces. I don't think anything changes here. Back to basics is tempting if we get grindy, but I just don't want to get grindy against this opponent. So, right back in we go, same deck. Now I'm on the draw. Got to get a game on the draw. This is the hard time. This hand is not good. I'm going to mulligan it. This hand is insane. I'm going to keep it and put Ichormoon Gauntlet on the bottom. Yeah, I'd rather pitch Supreme Verdict to force. Okay. Bobble. Getting bobbled. I will force a discard spell here. Force pitching Supreme Verdict. Deafening Silence is one of these game enders, if I can get it into play. Urza's Baubles just saw the Deafening Silence. He knows what's coming. Yeah, that does tell him to dump out all his baubles now, though. Okay, he gets to draw 3, but then I get to Deafening Silence. A prologue to Pheresis. Step 1, don't die. That's the Deafening Silence. Step 2, win somehow. That's the prologue. De-silence. And send it. What I don't want to see is Urza Saga. Okay, Swamp. That's fine. Wishclaw can get Saga or get an answer to Silence. Well, can you answer 2 of them? I'm going to jam. If your answer is like a bounce spell, I'm good here. If you're going to wish for Urza's Saga, I can wish for Dress Down and beat that. All right, already had Saga. Fair enough. Duress. Okay. Probably going to lose Dovin here. Oh, took the prologue. Okay. Fair enough. Let's draw the land and punish that. That's actually way better than the land. Oh, bummer. I have no plays to make. Woe is me. End step Dark Ritual. Are we just... What does that do? Are we building Threshold? Interesting. Is Ensnaring Bridge part of your plan? Like, what does that do? Literally, what does that do? I'm so confused. I don't think Tony would make a mistake playing into Deafening Silence, so I'm trying to figure out what that is. Oh, Infernal Tutor's in hand. That's what's going on. Yeah, that's definitely what's happening. He's setting up an Infernal Tutor situation so he can tutor with Wishclaw and with Infernal Tutor next turn. That's why this bauble didn't crack. He's trying to get Hellbent. I'll fetch now in case there's a Pithing Needle in the world. Construct. Tutor up Shadow Spear. Ancient Tomb. Infernal Tutor is on. There's Infernal Tutor. Guess I'll respawn now with Dress Down. Get rid of those. There's land number 3. Maybe I should let the tutor resolve. He's already cast a spell. Already played a land. Yeah, I don't know what I was supposed to do there, or how I was supposed to time that. I think waiting, there's no punish. He just gets the tutor with more information this way. Loosey-goosey. Alright, just saw Swords to Plowshares. I'm going to play Dovin now. Hopefully slow him down a bit more. And pass a turn. There's the other Saga, which is probably what he tutored for after I gave up the goat on the first one. That's actually pretty awesome, because now I can Ichormoon Gauntlet, Proliferate, and Plow puts another counter on Dovin. If I Proliferate onto Saga, I can do that next turn. I don't want to do it now, though. Right. I can force Saga to pop next turn on my turn before he gets 2 constructs out of it. Okay, activating Shadow Spear in the end step for style points. What is happening? Just goofing around. Another Saga. That's a lot of that. Another Wishclaw. You could certainly tutor for many things at this point. And I'll go to my turn. Draw what I hope is a spell. It was not. I'm gonna fetch my Flooded Strand first, in case my Proliferate results in a surprise Pithing Needle again. Dovin and your Urza Saga. This Saga's tapped, so actually I can Proliferate both and really fuck with this. That's only one possible construct off of each of these. Alright, you get a construct, you get a tutor. I get a Swords to Plowshares, which I think I just want to fire off now. Got Brainstone, Swords to Plowshares, which puts a counter on... I could put a counter on the other Saga, then you get nothing. Yeah, that's actually better than Dovin. This is sick. It's all coming together. So you get to tutor another artifact now. You get no constructs. That's 3 Sagas gone. Fisher's Bauble. Yep, that makes sense. That's a card you can draw. And then I will pass the turn. 3 cards in hand. 2 tutors available. And Brainstone. Brainstone's active. Yeah, Dovin still taxing the spells that he would cast. So I have a Sphere effect and 2 silences. But I gotta get either a poison on him or a second Planeswalker and get going here. There's black in the pool. I would love to get a Duress or Thoughtseize out of the way here. That's why I'm sandbagging this land. Okay, it's Wishclaw time. Are we going to see the 4th Saga? Or is it time to start wiggling out of all the junk I've done? I mean, I get to make a wish on my turn. That's a big deal. Okay, yep, Saga number 4 was... I don't know if it was the wish, but here it is after making a wish. And spell for turn. Duress. Perfect. Okay. Sandbagging the Flooded Strand did what it was supposed to do, and now I get to make my land drop and make a tutor and see what happens. That is one of the cards I would have wished for. Yeah, I'm just going to Teferi. Brainstorm is in my deck, so I'll save the fetch land. Teferi puts a counter on Dovin. I'm going to bounce the Saga, so I'm not trying to put extra counters on it right now. Teferi, bounce the Urza Saga. Minor Misstep, that's a good card. Dovin, Proliferate. 1 on Teferi, 1 on Dovin, and 1 on Wishclaw Talisman that I control. Actually, let's put it on all of them. That way, if he makes a second wish, I actually get to make a second wish too. There's the Urza Saga, no surprise. We knew about that one. Lotus Petal. Do I counter this? Do I care? I don't think so. Okay, I'm getting another turn here. Blooded Strand, bummer. Wish Claw. Do I wish for big Teferi now? I'm gonna crack this fetch line and look at my deck. Ashiok Game Ender is a serious one I could get. Prologue puts a poison on him and gets things going. I'm not gonna wish for Prologue to Pheresis though. And Gideon can Emblem. Then I can't get stormed out. Teferi phasing out. Teferi draws so many freaking cards. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna Teferi here. Make my land drop. Make a wish. This is just the engine. Teferi, Master of Time. I can bounce Urza Saga again this turn. Put a counter on Little Teferi. And then proliferate with Dovin. And then bounce Urza Saga again. Proliferate with Dovin. 1, 2, 3. Done. Bounce Saga again. And I draw a card, and then I can start looting with the extra card. And I will proliferate with Big Teferi because my hand is perfect. I'm not going to loot. Tony mentioned that Gauntlet is just obliterating him, and yeah, it is. Putting 2 Urza Sagas in the graveyard with basically no value, and Teferi bouncing it multiple turns in a row. Yeah, emergency wish time. Like it or not, time to make a wish. What did we wish for? We wished for Wish. I'm going to let this resolve because I'm holding Force of Will. And there's 2 Deafening Silences in play. I can take an extra turn with Dovin next turn. If I proliferate with Big Teferi in this end step, untap, proliferate, take an extra turn, proliferate, carry into the Abyss in hand. Not worried about that one. End a turn, proliferate. And I will put one on the Saga. I can kill that without ever making a construct now that it's tapped. I can also just draw a Null Rod. I'll fetch first. Get a island. Oh, I should wish before I play Null Rod. That's the way to do that. Okay. Wish with Wishclaw. And I think I want Ashiok Game Ender. Just get the whole squad together. That means I can't play Null Rod this turn, but I'll have to live without it. I'll have to figure it out. Gauntlet, put a counter on Dovin. Ashiok resolves. Dovin, take an extra turn after this one. Big Teferi, proliferate, which kills Urza Saga. And they can't search now that I have Ashiok in play. And I'll do a good minus just in case this graveyard's going to get used. And Teferi, I think I'd rather proliferate than do anything else I could do here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Done. Okay. You're going to have to get Peer into the Abyss through my Force of Will. Oh, right. I get an extra turn. Oh, yeah, I forgot all about that. Right. That is a thing. Okay. I'm going to draw and discard with Big Teferi. Get rid of this Plains. Dovin, or yeah, Dovin's going to proliferate. Everything's just going to proliferate. Teferi's going to proliferate. Ashiok's going to proliferate. And then I'll play Null Rod and put a counter on Big Teferi, who can take 2 turns in a row now. Or are you? Yeah, you're at 13. Cool. As soon as it's my opponent's turn, I can activate Big Teferi, who could take extra turns. I just get 3 turns in a row now. Oh, this is on 10, not on 12. I don't even know what's going on right now. Okay, I don't need to do this right now. I can do it on my turn because it's about to be my turn anyway. Proliferate. Done. Brainstorm in the end step. Try to find some poison for you. Counter on Big Teferi. There's some poison for you. Okay. Now I win. Draw a card. Prologue to Pheresis. I draw a card, you get poisoned, Big Teferi gets a counter. This might be a smarter way to spread these around, but the idea of just taking millions of turns now. Take 2 extra turns after this one. Proliferate. This is deterministic, right? I have enough Planeswalkers and activations and turns to just Poison him out here. Proliferate. It would be funny to shove a bunch of extra counters onto his Wish Claws, but I don't need to be funny right now. I'll just win the game. Extra turn number 1. Prologue to Pheresis. Let's go. Poison you. Counters on Big Teferi. We're just going off. Absolutely going off. Proliferate. 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 You will be proliferated. And this is my last Planeswalker for the turn. But I get another turn, don't worry. Who's the combo deck now, Tony Scapone? And I will use Dovin, Hand of Control, to put the final poison on my opponent. And there it is. Another combo Ichormoon Gauntlet victory. That was so sick. On to the next round. You come here to level up at Magic. To level up as a software engineer, check out the new YouTube series Dev Better, hosted by the founder of 7 Factor Software and Magic player, Jeremy Duvall. 7 Factor's small teams of high-performing engineers build custom mobile apps, APIs, and highly scalable systems for Fortune 500 companies and ambitious startups with great ideas. If you'd like to hire 7 Factor, or maybe join their team, contact them through their website at 7factor.io. And don't forget to subscribe to 7 Factor's YouTube for every episode of Dev Better. I'm on the draw in round 3. First opponent who I don't know what type of deck they play, but I have Force of Will and lands to cast spells. I'm in. Elvish Reclaimer. I think I actually force this. Pitching Ichormoon Gauntlet. I want Teferi for later. Big Teferi. This is where I draw Swords to Plowshares and hate my life. Okay, I didn't draw Swords to Plowshares. I don't have to hate my life. Evamaya, okay. So it looks more like a Depths deck than a Elves deck. Ooh. Blighted Agent, huh? I'm going to put that into play. I'm going to play around Wasteland. If I get Elvish Spirit Guide crop rotated here, good job. But I think that's better. Like, I can't interact with that anyway, and this one gets the first poison going. Oh no. There's no stage and no depths in play, so I'm not sure how worried about this I need to be. Oh, your Cloud Post. Sure. Now I'm worried. Glad I have that one back to basics in my sideboard. This is a deck that it's very hard to just get unlimited hooks in. I'm going to need Ashiok Game Ender and back to basics to win this one. But they passed the turn without a land drop. Fascinating. I'm going to make my attack first and then see what happens here. What am I worried about? Another crop rotation on tap for massive mana? Does that even beat me? It's weird that they tap mana, then pass the turn without a land drop. Trying to figure out what that means. I guess I just pass with Brainstorm and Augury up. I can cast 2 spells and proliferate. And now I know that if they go for a crop rotation, I just force the crap out of it. Go Seiju as land for turn. Okay. And Outland Liberator. Okay. Teferi has a target now. That's good. I think I just want to Augury and keep my Brainstorm. Liberator resolves. End step. Experimental Augury. Teferi gets the bounce, but having other Teferi ready. Or I have draw step plus Teferi bounce plus my next draw step, and I still have Brainstorm. I'll take another Augury. Augury for Augury, the classic legacy play. Proliferate, give you a poison. And then I'll go to my turn. I will attack first, in case they start feeling the pressure and want to crop rotate for Maze of Ith or something. 3 poison. This is the first real appearance of Blighted Agent in the league, and it's a good one. Teferi, let's go. They do have a crop rotation. Now or never. Fair enough. They'll have big mana next turn. Did kind of force the issue there in a way that exposed that I couldn't really punish their weakness. If I had the force, the game would have just ended, but I don't, and now they have 5 mana. Liberator's back. Expedition map. Shit, that's a good one. That gives them their land drop right now, and then next turn they have even more mana. In the danger zone. Oh, Cavern of Souls. Oh, I'm so glad they went for that. That means they're going to try to prime time me next turn, and I have the dress down. That's so much better than just getting another Cloud Post. Thank you, opponent. Minor misstep. I don't think we're going to find a lot of targets for that one in this game. I am going to brainstorm here. I'd like to hit land drops. Augury's too risky, knowing that they're going to jam primetime next turn. Not interested in taking that risk. Minor misstep. Whatever. Wandering Emperor, I can't even cast. Okay, Wandering Emperor and Minor misstep can back off. Karn's Bastion is in. Blighted Agent puts poison number 4 on them. And pass the turn. Unfortunately, I lose to Fairy here. I could Augury to save it, but I have to dress down. Dress down this big idiot. And then I can phase it out on the next turn. 6/6, no abilities. And the poison's just ticking up. Losing little to Fairy. Okay. I know I'm drawing Wandering Emperor. The Fairy Master of Time goes up to 4, then goes down to 1. And then I lose it to Blighted Agent. Or lose it to Liberator. I could just not attack with Blighted Agent this turn. Guess I'm playing Teferi regardless. So I'll start there. Teferi plus I'll discard Minor Misstep. And I'll leave back Blighted Agent to block for Teferi. Or do I have a route to actually... Okay, yeah, if I block Outland Liberator, then the -1 counter works on Proliferate, and then I clear that. I'm glad they didn't have crop rotation for Sajiri Step. I just discarded my Minor Misstep. Not that I had extra mana for that one. Alright, you're attacking, I'm blocking. Now I gotta find an answer to Primeval Titan. I need a Swords to Plowshares real bad. I do get to look at a bunch of cards this turn. Force of Will, not really helpful. I'll start with Augury. Gideon of the Trials. How quick can I get them poisoned? This is 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, we're not there. I don't think Gideon's helpful. I'm going to take another Prologue. Just try to spam. Proliferate. My opponent, their Liberator, and my Teferi. And I'm going to Brainstorm next. Brainstorm could still hit a land drop. Or Teferi should happen next. Yeah, I'm going to loot with Teferi next. Another Brainstorm. I don't think Narset is where I want to be this game. They're not really drawing cards. That's not how they're getting through me here. Brainstorm. Swords to Plowshares. Hallelujah. I'm going to put back Prologue and Wandering Emperor. Then play my land. And pass the turn. Got the Swords to Plowshares now. Feeling good. Feeling crazy. I'm just going to plow right now before they can draw a crop rotation and project this with Sajiri Step. Another Cloud Post off the top that suddenly gives them 2 extra mana. They have 8 total. 1 green, 2 green for Giants. That's okay. I can loot with Teferi, discard this Flooded Strand, put Wandering Emperor in my hand. Draw then discard. And my top card is Prologue, which I think I do want. Prologue to Pheresis. I'm going to cast that first. Opponent's at 6 poison. I don't need 2 Wandering Emperors. I'm going to draw and discard. Another Force of Will. Discard Wandering Emperor, and then Brainstorm right now while it's good. Dove into Fairy Plow. A Wandering Emperor can probably go, and the second Force of Will. Then I can fetch for a Tundra and pass the turn. Let's see if they spin up Ayavugan here. Cavern's gone. Force of Will just looking good. He did spin up Ayavugan. I'm going to plow the other one. Okay, they suddenly have zillions of mana. Oh, Ulamog is just here. Targeting Karn's Bastion into Teferi. I guess I want to loot. Draw and discard. Discard Dovin. And they have 6 poison right now. 7, 8. If I force Ulamog, I can't bounce Ulamog. I can, I'm just not going to. Yeah, I guess I lose to Fairy here and try to Pheresis them out. Taking out Karn's Bastion. Chad Gaming. Okay, Prologue. Misty Rainforest. Prologue. I think I'm going to lose to Emrakul this turn. 4, 5, 6. Oh, are they short? I'm sure there's something they can do with Elvish Reclaimer here. Okay, they have 5, 10, 15, 20, 21 mana. Yeah, that's enough. Ayavugan gets Emrakul, which they can easily cast. Okay. We made a game out of that. Okay, Ashiok and Subtlety actually looks sick. That beats Cavern of Souls. It beats Uncounterable Eldrazi's. Back to basics, definitely part of the plan. Null Rod, they do play Expedition Map. I don't think I want that, though. They dove in pretty bad here. Supreme Verdict is not bad. Wandering Emperor is not bad either, but I think I can go down to one of those. I'm going to shave a Gauntlet. And Blighted Agent actually was good this time. We almost got there. I was 1 poison away. So that poison would have been hard to get. I think I cast all my prologues and both auguries already, so it would have been hard to find one more proliferate from that board state, if I'm being honest. Minor Misstep hits Crop Rotation, Expedition Map, and Elvish Reclaimer. That's actually really good. I don't think Gideon is good. Anything that would be attacking that I'd be worried about will just kill me. Like, all the Eldrazi have attack triggers. Primeval Titan has an attack trigger. So maybe Gideon... Keeping my Planeswalker density up is important. Alright, I will cut a Blighted Agent. Let's go. And not keep this one. Mulligan. I can and will keep this one. I'm going to bottom Teferi. No, I'm going to bottom Gauntlet. Teferi does more. Gauntlet's a payoff when you're all set up. Teferi helps me get set up. Once Upon a Time, go for it. Vesuva. I draw for my turn. It's Dress Down. I am going to Brainstorm now if I find the fetch land. Oh god. I found Subtlety. More of this shit, huh, deck? We'll put back Teferi and Ashiok. Because Narset's the one I'm most, or at least pleased, or at least displeased about pitching to Force. Pithing Needle. Okay, you can name one of my Planeswalkers or something. Fairy Time Reveler, sure. Oh, I'll play Blighted Agent this turn and then enjoy being Brainstorm locked. I know I'm playing one fewer lands than I'd like in this deck, but I feel like I've had a lot more mana trouble than is reasonable with that one land difference. Oh my god. Daddy needs a back to basics before I'm dead. Right now I have a much easier thing to pitch to Force of Will or Subtlety in Teferi that's turned off anyway. 9 mana here, untapping on turn 4 with 9 mana available. Got me with the Bajuka Bug. See you later, Brainstorm. They are on mono colorless over here, though. I think I need... Shit, I should have main phased this Dress Down. Alright, well, I'm casting Dress Down, which did find the plains. Okay. I don't get to poison them because of when I did this. But I will still take my 1 damage and cast Ashiok. Ashiok Game Ender, go in there. And I'm not going to minus. I hope I lose this game by 1 poison again, because I messed that up. Carpet of Flowers. Okay. I hope this is the thing that puts them over the top on Emrakul mana. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, it's still not Emrakul. Could be Ulamog. Oh, it's a second carpet, sure. Storm is 2. Elvish Reclaimer. I'm not worried about that one. Supreme Verdict. Maybe next turn. For now, I'm going to Narset and activate. Narset, let's go. And Swords to Plowshares and Swords to Plowshares. I'll take Swords to Plowshares. Plow. Get my poison through. And I'll zap you with Ashiok. For good measure. I feel like this is going to die anyway. They are now with the double carpet into Emrakul range. Just gotta hope they don't have that card in their hand right now. Emrakul specifically mega sucks because the extra turn they just redraw and replay Emrakul if I Subtlety. Give me a Primeval Titan. Alright, cool. I'll force that pitching to Teferi. Veil of Summer. Okay, I'll Subtlety that pitching Supreme Verdict. Ah, shit. I should have let Veil resolve first, because now they're just going to draw and replay the prime time. God damn it. Sequencing is hard. Yeah, this matchup is bad, but you got to play right. Oh, wait. Narset means they don't draw a card. Accidentally played it perfectly. What the hell is this? You also have Emrakul. 9, 13, 14. You're one short of Emrakul right now. God. Very dead. Okay. Ashiok can clear the prime time. Gonna Narset first. Narset found Gauntlet, Prologue, and another Narset. I guess I'll take Gauntlet. And then zap you to clear this prime time. And I'll put 1 damage on you. And 1 additional poison. And hope that you were bluffing with that last card being Emrakul. Certainly making more mana. I will try to do the float mana kill Emrakul trick this time that I should have done in round 1 and messed up on. The Emrakul resolves. You get an extra turn. Pithing Needle. Please don't name Wandering Emperor. Very smart. They named Wandering Emperor and now I'm dead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, there's no outs here. Okay, yep. Good name on Wandering Emperor with the bonus Pithing Needle, which was the card they drew this turn. They drew well and used it well. I don't think they saw that, but I mean, if you play this sort of deck, you need to know what your Pithing Needle's name, and good job. On to the next one. For the absolute best Magic the Gathering apparel on the market, check out the link in the video description to coalesceapparel.shop, and be sure to use the code BoshNRoll for 10% off when you check out. On the draw in round 4 with another 0-lander, and this one I'll run with, and I'll bottom the Gauntlet. I'll see you when I'm ready for you, Gauntlet. Opponent's name is Moon Madness. I hope they're actually playing Werewolf Madness. Disappointed. Just a Forest. In Forest Go, Minor Misstep, Swords of Plowshares is probably going to line up well against what they're doing. This is a sick Forest. I don't even know if I've ever consciously registered the existence of this one before. Very cool. And I'm probably going to fetch... I was just going to say I'm probably going to fetch Basic Island, but I literally just said I can hold up Misstep or Plow here, and Plains is in my hand. I don't really want to fetch a Plains with this, so I hope they cast a 1-drop and not something I need to plow. Please be Depths and not... God. Well, Narset eventually answers that, but we're going to have to eat shit for a turn. Prologue to Pheresis, hell yeah. The engine's online. This is probably Depths, by the way, with Sylvan Library in it, rather than a post deck. Mox Diamond. I can counter that. I'm not gonna, though. That's cool. Okay, so now Crop Rotation is representing lethal. I will counter an Elvish Reclaimer, and I will Swords of Plowshares and Nightly Reliquary. Okay. I hope they try to protect this with Crop Rotation. That would be great. End step, Swords of Plowshares. Crop Rotation, come on, let's go. Yes. Feed the beast. Feed the beast. Minor Misstep is cool. Okay, let's get rid of that, and get rid of your land, and get rid of your knight, and then I play Narset, which gets rid of your Sylvan Library, and then I just have to not die to Merit Lage next turn, somehow. Hope that the last card in your hand is not Dark Depths, exactly. I am going to fetch basics. This is a Wasteland strategy. Narset, let's go. Find me a Plow. Gauntlet, Supreme Verdict, Brainstorm. I think I want Brainstorm. I just want to not die to Merit Lage for a turn or two. And then we're cooking. Thespian Stage from hand. Okay. That's not a Dark Depths. Not directly anyway. Oh god, Minskin Boo. No! No! Why would you have this good card in your deck? Which one of these did you draw? Did you have the 4th mana source, or did you top deck Minskin Boo? Either way, I'm Omega Tilt. Yeah, it's fine. Maybe I should have countered Mox Diamond. Yeah, I actually can't beat Minskin Boo in the main deck at all. Counter or die, and I guess I'll die. I'll try to Brainstorm and see if anything shakes loose here. Another Narset who can at least find this Brainstorm. I don't know. I'm not happy about this. And my combo kill isn't enough to just overcome this. This does at least deny another turn of Sylvan Library. Force of Will, you smug idiot. Welcome to my hand. Gideon of the Trials actually can stabilize. Dovin can stabilize. Kind of. Alright. I'll take this Force of Will in my hand. Narset is dead. There's a good chance they whip Boo at me here and just draw 4 while the getting's good. Yep. Yep, now they're up to a 5-card hand, and I was already barely functioning against their 0-card hand. Elvish Reclaimer, not going to counter that. Zenith for 1. This is going to be Sylvan Safekeeper. I'm actually just going to concede. I can't beat Minsc and Boo, and I don't want them to see Prologue or Augury off my Force of Will pitch. Okay. I thought we were doing good there. They had the 1 card that could beat me out of nowhere. That's okay. Subtlety and Hydroblast, I like both of these. Ashiok is huge against their deck. Do I want Blighted Agent? Do I want to try to engage in combat at all? Probably not. Become Creatureless Control, Supreme Verdict. Going nuts. Back to Basics is not awful against their deck, nor is it particularly good. I have to watch out for choke out of them, which I don't have many good answers for. Dovin's probably bad. I mean, minusing on a creature is not nothing, but I'm bringing in other planeswalkers. I both need to and don't want to cut some Force of Wills. I don't want those to leave the deck, but I think they have to. And one of the gauntlets. Maybe 3 is just too many gauntlet. It's not a card you can really keep in your opener. On the play, I will keep this. It's a little soft to a Elvish Reclaimer, but I'm going to rock it. It's got plays to make. Birds of Paradise, that's cool. Bad for me, but cool. I'm likely to fetch basic planes here. I could dress down in the end step just to turn off Bird, so I don't have to fend off a turn 2 choke. But I hope that's not what happens here, because I'm not going to play around it. Because it's not even a good play around, it's just, here's choke. Ox Diamond, can't counter it this time. Straight to Minsc and Boo. It'll turn to Minsc and Boo. Let me have it. I'm ready this time. I'm not ready for choke, though. Knight of the Reliquary resolves. Can't do anything about that. I'm going to give them a little bit of Phyresis in the end step. Prologue to Phyresis. Get poisoned. Surprise, I'm a poison deck. I hid it from you masterfully last game when I was just busy dying. Okay, I think I'm going to hold up Dress Down and Hydroblast this turn. Because they're threatening Minsc and Boo, which just wins every game it's involved in. I can't just jam Gideon here, and then they play Minsc and Boo and attack when I don't have Hydroblast up. Okay, no attacks. I could Dress Down now. That doesn't really change anything. They're fetching in their end step. That's weird. Yeah, I think I just want the cantrip now, even though this doesn't actually feel good to do. It turns off Knight until my end step. Like, Dress Down will die in my end step, then they can still Knight before their next turn, which is what they actually want to do here. Okay, we seem to have baited some sort of action here. Getting Dark Depths, okay. Interesting. Did they not realize that they could do that in the end step? Or do they think I'm going to cast a Sweeper on my turn? Which I might do. Yeah, I guess if you're worried about sorcery speed removal without Knight being alive to activate in response, then yeah, that story checks out. There are 2 planes in the deck. It's time to fetch one of them. Planes, Gideon. I'm going to plus on Knight. I'm dead to crop rotation here, but I can't do anything about that. Okay, no damage from Knight, which may or may not have been their plan anyway. And I will pass the turn. Am I getting my crops rotated right now? Yeah, they can crop rotation with Pyroblast backup. If they have all that, then they're going to go for it. They don't need the Pyroblast backup, but the fear that might slow them down makes that irrelevant. Green mana in the pool. Yeah, okay, we're dead. You got me. On to the next round. That matchup is generally kind of tough. Yeah, they showed me the Pyroblast anyway. Not that I needed to see it, but Yeah, that matchup is kind of tough anyway. These just like rock solid green decks that you have to worry about choke. They have a combo kill. They have big creatures. And without Ponder and Prismatic Ending to smooth out this kind of thing, you're in extra trouble. In that game one, we were close. They strung together Minsc and Boo plus 4 mana off of a random draw step, which if they had Minsc and just needed a land, it's like half their deck. But if they rip the Minsc, we'll never know. It doesn't matter. That's Magic. But this matchup's tough anyway, and our deck is not well suited to do what they're trying to do, or stop what they're trying to do. On to the final round. We're a few rounds into the video. Thanks for sticking with me. Friendly reminder that if you're still here and having fun, smash that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, you can use my affiliate link for TCG Player to support the channel while you shop for cards, and you can try any deck anytime with a cardhoarder.com loan account for Magic Online. All these links are in the video description below. Now back to the league. On the play in the final round, positive record on the line. Maybe we'll play against a non-green deck. That seems to be our Achilles heel. And I would like to point out this hand that I have. It is, once again, a one-lander. But Experimental Augury, if I was playing a normal blue-white deck, would be Ponder. And then this is a Snap Keep, but instead it's probably a mulligan. Yeah, I gotta send this. It's just not going anywhere. Okay, this one's way better. Keep and bottom Gauntlet. I'm going to play Tundra and hope they don't just wasteland me. I think it's better to leave up Swords to Plowshares than it is to run out Karn's Bastion. Balding Tarn, okay. Alright, you are a wasteland deck. Good to know that I'm dead on short notice here. Okay, played around it. I'm going to plow this now. Get it out. Before it gains any value. I'm still in trouble to a wasteland, but at least there's some game to be played if they do it. Brainstorm. There's the wasteland. Shit sucks. Okay, let's just draw a basic island and be fine here. Ha! Too easy. Enjoy my Blighted Agent. Their deck has millions of ways to deal with this thing. But that's okay. If I can get my first poison on, it's done its job. I could not get my first poison on. I'm running out of cards over here. I need a Planeswalker pretty quick. Augury. If only I'd gotten my first poison. I'm holding up Dress Down this turn. I can make Murktide Regent a 3/3. I'm not going to respond to EI. Daze. In the Exile Zone. See you never, Daze. And I can Augury in the end step. Trying to get a Planeswalker going here. Disappointed. The one poison didn't connect. That is a Planeswalker. It's not the one that I want, though. I'll take the Brainstorm. I want that one later, and when I have mana to cast it. That's the one I wanted. I don't really want to shove it into Daze, though, so I'm going to try to Brainstorm here. Cool. Misty Rainforest can chill. Alright, Misty Rainforest is going to be my land drop. I'm going to put back Force of Will and Prismatic Vista, and then play Misty. Now I'm playing around Daze, and I have Force back up if they try to force me next turn. And I welcome a Murktide Regent. I will bounce it, and it will be gone for a while. Brainstorm. There is a big silver lining here, which is when I brew nonsense blue-white decks, they're usually pretty solid against Delver. I have 2 Supreme Verdicts in my main, 2 Wandering Emperors, a bunch of Teferis. I got game here. There's Murktide Regent. That's what Teferi's for. And do I want to draw this land on top of my deck? Don't think so. Yeah, I'm going to shuffle that. Probably should have put Force on top so I have an easy card to pitch to the other Force. Okay, please don't have 2 Force of Wills. Force pitching Daze. I was right to play around that. Force pitching Dress Down. And we're in there. Send Murktide away. Minor misstep. That's pretty good against this deck. 1 land, they can just redeploy the Murktide as 4/4. EI, that's good too. I wonder if they're actually Grixis or if this is just the snuff out Delver. It's just is a Delver, but there's a bunch of snuff outs and 1 Underground Sea in it. It's for the initiative in the mirror. I'm going to misstep this Ponder. I just don't want them to find any traction here. Okay, White Source for Wandering Emperor. Bummer. Yeah, can't Wandering Emperor, can't Proliferate Teferi up. I can answer Murktide, though. And this Ponder is going to resolve. Yeah, maybe I'm supposed to save my misstep for a lightning bolt, or a threat. Ponder chose to shuffle. There's Delver. And DRC. Yep. Would have absolutely rather had Misstep this turn. I'm going to clear Channeler, because they did just shuffle the Ponder. They don't know what's on top right now. That gives Teferi a chance to live. And I found the white source anyway, so we're living large. Okay. Now I can clear Delver with Wandering Emperor, bounce Murktide with Teferi. I could even proliferate first, and then Murktide doesn't delete the Teferi. All right, let's go. Big Wanders. We're in there. Exile target tapped creature. I choose that one. I hope they just jam Murktide and pass, but they at least have Brainstorm. I need this Teferi. Please don't have Lightning Bolt. There's Brainstorm. Come on, Murktide Regent. Murktide Regent pass. That's what I want. F's in the chat. Please don't have a land. Now don't Murktide. Okay, they've passed the turn. At least I got that going for me. Another Teferi? Bummer. I'm going to proliferate and then make a 2/2. And I'm not bluffing anything here. Here's my Flooded Strand. Go. Murktide's in hand. We know that. Currently empty on answers to it. There are Supreme Verdicts, Dovins, and Gideons, and Plows, and Teferis in my deck. I got a lot of hits here. Yeah, I should have been way more careful with this minor misstep in my graveyard. I probably would have wasted it on one of the creatures last turn and not really saved it for the bolt, but still, I had a chance to do better. Very shit. I proliferate. I'm not going to put a counter on Murktide Regent. Thanks for asking, though. 1/1 Samurai. Or 2/2 Samurai. Might as well be 1/1. For as much as it's impacting this game. Another Channeler. Snuff out. Sure. This just mills zillions. Puts an instant in the graveyard. If they find a creature or artifact, they have Delirium. Into Lightning Bolt, bin to land. They don't have Delirium yet. Still have 2 spells in their hand, though. Petty Theft. Ugh. Yep. Got to Delirium. Clears my blocker and makes their attack force much bigger. Supreme Verdict, let's go. Alright, one of these is summoning sick. Okay, Supreme Verdict, please. Supreme Verdict, please. Narset. This could result in Supreme Verdict. I'm going to play Narset. I'm going to fetch for Basic Island. And then also fetch for Tundra. And just try to maximize my hits on Supreme Verdict here. Supreme Verdict. Gideon. Not really what I need, but it might buy me some time. Murktide Regent doesn't deal any damage next turn. They can kill Narset and put damage on Gideon or put me to 3. Yep, damage on Gideon and clearing Narset. Supreme Verdict. And I am dead next turn anyway, whether I plus or 0. Okay, let's hope I can distract them and they don't just go in on the Brazen Borrower. Like, they're going to cast Brazen Borrower, but let's see if they just put 9 on me or put any effort on Gideon. And nope, just put 9 on me. Okay. Defeated by Delver. There's no shame in that. Hydroblast. Rest in peace. Back to Basics is effective against them, but they're a deck full of Pyroblasts and Brazen Borrower. And generally, when I play these blue-white decks, I've found that I'd rather have 7 mana than 3, and my opponent have 1. Like, I'd rather I have 7 and they have 4 than I have 3 and they have 1. Like, I just use my mana better than them in the super late game, which Expressive Iteration might change, and then being 3 colors might be an extra punish. Yeah, maybe I'll try it on the play. Don't really like it on the draw. I don't want to play any Force of Wills in my deck. Dress Down's not great either. Plows are good, Misstep's good. All of my Planeswalkers are welcome. Is Ashiok better than Ichormoon Gauntlet? Is Subtlety better than Ashiok? Shave a Blighted Agent as well. That gives me 1 Ashiok, 1 Subtlety. Or just both Subtleties. I think I want both Subtleties. Oh, I get Ashiok too. That was 3 cards. Lucky. Okay, let's do it. On the play, non-basic land, dead immediately to Wasteland. I'll keep Brainstorm, don't betray me. I hope they just like play a DRC into my misstep and pass. It's not a Wasteland. They are fetching. Hey, that's the turn cycle I asked for. And it's gone. Mistress Bauble, okay. Okay, draw step plus Brainstorm. Don't mess this up for me. Too easy. Had it. Had it. Another non-basic, which exposes me to Wasteland and makes my backed basics that's in my deck somewhere even worse. But it does play towards land number 3. They brainstormed and passed. I'm going to Augury in the end step. If they daze or Pyroblast this, I'm not even upset about it. Pick the land. Hate to see a plow go, but I do have to play the game first. Ashiok gets got by daze or Pyroblast here, but I think I gotta jam them. Card is just hit so hard if it works. I don't care about Lightning Bolt. Okay, Pyroblast, it's fine. That was gonna hit something eventually. Buddha Delta, Delver, Brainstorm, let's go. So a lot of lands. I'm actually just good on lands at this point. And Swords to Plowshares. I'll keep another land on top. It's another Flooded Strand on top of my deck. I actually like that there. That lets me Subtlety and play around days in the future. The Channeler in exile. I can try to hand of controlled out with Dovin next turn. Okay, drawing for my turn. Fetching basic planes. And here's Dovin. Please don't Pyroblast. Both halves of Dovin are good against this deck. They're a spell velocity deck. That kills me with creatures. They have something. I hope it's just Brainstorm before it costs more. Fucking Pyroblast. There are Hydroblasts in my deck. I'll Brainstorm in response. This seems worth it. Brainstorm. Not what I wanted, but it's alright. I'm not upset to see this spread of cards. Okay. You got your Pyroblast. Dovin, Hand of Control, too good. Must be respected. And Ponder, DRC, now they're just going to see their whole deck. Do not shuffle Ponder. Another Channeler. I think I want to just chomp up this DRC now. We go to their turn, what changes? They could hardcast Force of Negation. Yeah, I'll just do it now. Force of Will's going to work anyway. Daze doesn't work anyway. Okay, we're in there, and I'll eat one of these DRCs, lose my Emperor to the other, but that was a pretty good board presence swing. They're killing the Emperor, as they should. How many of these did they play? I'm gonna fetch a basic island here, and that's not the Supreme Verdict I was hoping for. I'm gonna run Narset out and try to dig. Narset resolved. Did find a Swords to Plowshares. I'll take that. Play my land and pass. On their turn, they'll send both DRCs at Narset. Yep. Which means I can just let her die. I don't need to act first because she was dead anyway. I can see what they do second main. And this does give them more surveils. But they can't just shove a Murktide into play here because they know I have the plow. They left their card on top and did not shuffle. I could actually just go to my turn. If I draw Supreme Verdict, I'm happy about that. And then I can plow plus Subtlety on their turn. Brazen Borrower in the end step. I don't really want this on top of their deck because it can bounce Subtlety, but it does take the pressure off in the interim. Okay, I'm going to plow DRC. And then I'll Subtlety the Brazen Borrower. They currently can't daze it or Pyroblast it, which are the things I'm worried about. And then they'll have to bounce it, or else it just trades with DRC. Unless they want to save Petty Theft and get the trade here. Oh, they bottom Brazen Borrower. We just got the full counter on that one. Brainstorm. Yep. Been to Ponder. You're just looking for any Pyroblast, any Bolt here to get this out of the way. And I'm looking for any removal spell to get stable. The fetch land does represent expressive iteration for the future. And Pyroblast. Squeaky clean answer to that. Been to Snuff Out, which is still in their deck. Interesting. I guess they saw Blighted Agent game 1. Alright, it's time for Supreme Verdict because they're jamming Murktide here. Yep. Okay, Supreme Verdict. It's time for you to show up. I need you. Opponent's Hellbent. Blighted Agent, not really what I wanted. I will prologue to Pheresis and see what happens. The Fairy, okay. That's good stuff. I'll fetch my basic planes. And I will at least buy myself a little bit of breathing room against this Murktide. They get to EI next turn, they still have Murktide in hand, but at least I'm not taking 11 right now while I'm at 12. Alright. Let's just go all the way to the bottom and put this Blighted Agent into play as well. Might as well. Maybe they'll prioritize this wrong and care about Blighted Agent at all, which is not something they actually have to do. Here's the EI. Delver off of the EI Murktide from hand deck. If you're going to give me a Supreme Verdict, this is the one. Just a 6/6 Murktide. They had to make it smaller to keep Delirium. And it's time to draw a Supreme Verdict, then we win. Gideon. It is so close to a magic card, but actually isn't one on all these occasions. It does lock down Murktide and maybe draw some attacks. Murktide, go to sleep. Delver, maybe don't flip. Flipped Revealing Lightning Bolt. Cool. How about the Supreme Verdict deck? Okay, they are putting all their attacks on Gideon. That gives me extra money to play with for the Supreme Verdict. That doesn't actually change the clock. I'm just dead anyway. Supreme Verdict. Talk about useless horseshit. Okay, they got me. This league was a delight. This deck popped off numerous times before sort of sputtering out in the second half. It immediately needs some changes made. I think that the mana needs to be ideal first before we think about Karn's Bastion. And 3 is too many gauntlets. You don't really need 2 if you're doing the thing, and you don't want to draw this card before it's time. I'll just put a 4th Tundra in here. And a 5th Island. I think this deck is already better. And as dope as Experimental Augury was when we were popping off, I think that you just need Ponder in your Legacy deck. Even just out of responsibility. And honestly, I think Blighted Agent is just completely unnecessary. I'm actually cutting all of those. And give me 4 Ponders, please. Yeah, there's 4 Ponders in the deck now. Already smoother. The win condition is still poison. We'll find a prologue eventually. We're just this creatureless deck. Now Supreme Verdict is less of a problem. Any Swords of Plowshares or creature removal in an opponent's deck are now completely blank. We get that virtual card advantage. I want some generic answer to stuff in here. I don't know if the answer is Brazen Borrower or Council's Judgment, Unexpectedly Absent. Only 2 colors, you don't really get to play Prismatic Ending. You could add a color, that's just not what I'm going to do with this build. But if you're interested in iterating on this, go ahead, add a color. Go nuts, you probably get some cool new Planeswalkers in the additional color as well. I don't think we need Rest in Peace with Surgical and Ashiok. Gonna open up some sideboard space there as well. I throw a Council's Judgment in there. That can answer Minsk and Boo or Chalice of the Void in the main deck, which we're otherwise not really good at doing. I don't know if the answer out of the sideboard is more back to basics or less. I don't really like the card, but we queued into 12 posts, which is absolutely unwinnable if we don't hardlock them somehow. I'm already playing Dress Downs for Saga. I'm thinking like even Disenchant is a playable card. It's really tough when you're a white deck without Prismatic Ending. This is why all the white decks are 3 and 4 colors now, and 2 color control doesn't really swing anymore. It's because Prismatic Ending, if you can't get at least 3 colors on it, it's just not worth including. But it does so much for a deck. Like, I'm out here talking about Council's Judgment, Disenchant, Unexpectedly Absent. I can't even play Wear Tear because I'm just in 2 colors, and the Prismatic Ending is so good. This would actually be an insane Moat deck, but unfortunately Moat doesn't stop Delver, which is one of my primary concerns right now. I'll just put 2 generic answers in the sideboard: Council's Judgment, Brazen Borrower. They help against Prison, and their removal against Delver. And I think these are steps in the right direction. This deck's going to take forever to win, so anyone who's putting real pressure on you and you can't actually squeeze them out is going to be a hard game to win. But we saw the deck go off numerous times. We completely squeezed out of the game a few different opponents with our lock pieces. The bones are there. Feel free to iterate on them. CC Ant-Man, thank you for this invitation to brew. This isn't the deck you submitted, but I think it's a sweet one, and it's in the spirit of the original challenge. Everybody else, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Watch out for the poison out there. Don't get completed, and I'll see you next time.